Hello, hello. This is Lewis Lee from All Ends Media, and you are playing in traffic, which we do this every Thursday night. So tell all your friends and family that we talk car stuff. And we got a couple of the fellas coming in the chat room. Let's see what's going on here. Before I start, I'd like to tell everybody to go check out our website, planintraffic.com, and join up for our mailing list so you can get any updates. We are going to SEMA in a couple weeks, and we will be doing live YouTube and Playin in Traffic segments. So if you're on the mailing list, you will get notified that we are live. You can see all the stuff we got going on out there, and I'll be waiting on people to ask questions about the cars that we're looking at when we go live. So you can ask questions. You can, tell me to go certain places, check out different booths that you want us to check out. So we're just going to be floating around doing Playin in Traffic stuff the whole week. So make sure you get signed up so you'll know what's going on. We're letting Ray in. How's everybody in the chat room? Jim, Papa Squirrel, Brian? I hear Ray.
Yeah, I'm here.
I don't see your face.
Red Rover, let Ray come over. I don't see it either.
Yeah.
Unless I look in the mirror.
How you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm coming down a little bit of a cold. I'm feeling a little, it's like in the evening when I get home, I start feeling like crap.
Yeah, it's up and down weather, man. It's terrible.
I don't know. Yeah, it just kind of rolled on. So I'm taking some stuff, and if I fall asleep in front of you, just kick me to the side.
Yeah, sounds good.
Taking my afternoon nap at work as usual,
Yeah. What are you guys working on?
Well, no, over at the shop. Actually, my buddy at the shop just bought an El Camino, an '86 El Camino.
Yeah.
And it's got some rust, but that doesn't scare them because their primary business is a body shop. So the guy before him, the guy put like $4,500 into this car, and then has a leaky wheel cylinder. I mean, did all brand new stainless steel brake lines, all sorts of stuff, and now and decided to sell it. So he got it cheap, and
really?
My job is going to be to piece it back together, and I'm going to fix the brakes first. Do that probably tomorrow.
That's the way to catch them is when somebody buys all the parts and does a lot of the work, and then something happens, they get sick or run out of money. You know what I mean? They sell it at a decent price.
Oh, even better than that, they did all the work. I mean, the car was originally a 305, and they had taken that out somewhere along the line and bought a Target Master 350, installed the engine, had the overdrive tranny rebuilt. It's got wheels and tires on it. The body was done and painted.
Wow.
The chrome is like perfect. The bumpers and the grill, everything is perfect. The stainless is beautiful. The interior is like originally beautiful. It's like not even molested. The car was except it's got lower body rot. On the bottom of the quarters and the but there's patch panels for all that. He'll just patch it in and So like I said, they did stainless steel brake lines front to rear, and now as far as we can see. The one wheel cylinder is leaking. It's leaking right out through the drum. And the car just got parked. It's like, man, you go through all of that work, spend all this money on the car, and then you stop at something like that. Why?
Yeah, something cheap, too.
Yeah. So, and the wheel cylinders were in the back of the car. He even had the parts. So, they were right behind the seat. So, but I got, you know what happens. You kind of get tired of something, or I told him, I said, at some point, it's a tipping point, and you say, you know what, I've had enough. Like, what's going to be next? Like, just move on.
Yeah, I've done the same thing. Just get tired of it. Yep.
Yeah. I saw a nice picture on Instagram.
He's going to jump in a little bit.
Okay. I saw a picture on Instagram today, man, of a 65 Caddy. I had a 65. I love those cars. And this thing was kind of like Peach's color. A really nice copper tangerine. I don't know what you call it, but this thing was in the weeds. I mean, this car was sitting on the grass.
And that looked good with the long fins and stuff, huh?
65 Caddy is a long car. Man, it looked nice.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
There's a
That's
black one that's on. I don't know if it's on Facebook or where I seen it. Maybe Instagram, but it's all black and it's blacked out. And oh man, this is beautiful.
nice.
It's hard to get black to look good. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and especially a car like that, you got to wet sand it. It's got to be board sanded, long boards. I mean, that's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, it's no joke. It shows everything.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why I'm throwing flake into mine so you can't see some of the flaws.
Break it up a little. Yeah. It'll fool your eye. That's right.
Yep. Tammy's gonna hook it up. Tammy from Tamco.
Oh yeah,
Paint.
yeah. Right.
Yeah,
right.
she's man, she's incredible, dude. She sent me some samples and stuff. And it's a maroon with a pearl, like a silver pearl in it. It is beautiful, man.
Nice.
Yeah, she sent me some samples. So I'm gonna paint my wife's blender. I'm gonna do low rider stripes on it, and see how it comes out.
Sure.
She also told me I should put. She sent me silver flake for the base. She said put the base down and then go over the top of it with this maroon. So I'm curious to see how it's gonna look.
Well, I would say whatever she says, follow it to the letter because she definitely knows her stuff. You know,
she sure does, man.
When she was on here, she was very impressive.
She actually she does Facebook Live at 10 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
So if anybody wants to check her out on Facebook, she'll be live at 10.
Nice.
But man, she's really knowledgeable. She has a real nice booth out at SEMA, or last year she did when I first met her. And she had a nice setup. I tried to steal some cans. They're painting, like custom painting the paint cans, like the old metal cans.
Right.
The paint used to come in, yeah. So she has some really nice ones, man. I tried to get one, but she was a hawk.
Yeah. You know what you should do? I've been to a couple of the things where the pinstripers do stuff like that. And what they do is they'll just take blanks of metal and just pinstripe them, and then they auction them off. You know, and some of them get $20, $40, $50, whatever. You know, it just goes into the kitty. So and you get a cool piece of art for the wall.
Yeah, I mean, she had some surfboards there. She had all kind of stuff there, skateboards. They were doing some, like, I guess this is people that buy her products. They're doing custom things, sending them to her. I think I lost Ray. Ray. Anybody else want to jump in on the screen? Give me the thumbs up. Yeah, SEMA's coming up next week, man. We're gonna meet up with everybody that comes on the show. I'm gonna send out emails and text and everything to try to get everybody to meet, maybe at one booth, maybe Dave's booth, or hold on one second. Let me get John in.
Hey.
Hey, what's going on?
Just got home from work about an hour ago. Crazy.
Yeah, one of those days.
Yeah, traveling down south. We're doing a jewelry store. It's like a 500-600 gallon custom aquarium.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling us.
Yeah, so we got it set up, installed last week on Saturday. Actually, on Sunday. We had to do it on Sunday because of that crazy storm. And today I went down there to finish the plumbing, and Saturday we're going back to put the sand and the rock and the fish and the whole deal. So
being down there in Florida, is that a big business down there? Being that you're around water, water's around you everywhere.
Yeah. There's quite a few aquarium companies, in Florida. Luckily, because of my affiliation with the TV show, my company's big.
Nice.
So
nice.
We get people that find us. And then another thing that's really, it's a help. Sweet. Actually, I got to talk to a guy. There's a big public aquarium in Tampa, but it's called the Florida Aquarium. So people come to visit and they dial 411 and they're like, "Can I have the number for the Tampa Aquarium?" Because it's in Tampa. Yeah. So they wind up calling me. So I give them the right phone number, but
Yeah.
they go on Google and they put on all these reviews on Tampa Aquarium. So,
And it comes up
and it's
you.
like, this place is awesome. Oh my God, it's fantastic. The best thing I've ever been to.
Oh, that's
So
great.
I got like 40 or 50 5-star ratings.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And I was at the wholesalers the other day, and one of the guys that works at that aquarium was in there, and I'm like, "Hey, man, thanks for all the publicity." He's like, "What are you
Keep
talking
sending them.
about?" Yeah. So he was
That's
like, "Hey, it
funny.
works for me."
Yeah,
Pretty
man.
crazy. People
Get it how
post
you can.
pictures. They take pictures there of these tanks with all of these crazy fish, and
Yeah.
it winds up when you do a Google search for me. There it is.
Oh, hey, giving you
So
photos
good.
and everything, video.
Yeah, I'm not complaining at all.
Yeah. We got Ray back in the background somewhere.
My microphone is
just,
back.
He's a little square again.
Okay.
Yeah. So, any work on your race car? Get anything done?
No. Not until I get the
buying parts.
Camaro gone.
Got
But I'm getting a lot of stuff done on the Camaro. As a matter of fact, I can go in the garage. Hold on a second. I'm getting a lot of stuff done on the Camaro. As a matter of fact, this weekend the whole chassis will be completely finished. The rear end is on its way, so I can put this thing on the ground real soon.
Get it the hell out of there.
Yeah, well, the whole idea is to get this thing out of here, like by the beginning of the year. So he's going to have to, as at that point now, he's going to have to order up his engine and transmission. Where's that thing that flips it around? Oh, I got it. Wait, you got to hit the little 3 dots.
The flipper.
There you go.
All right. So anyway, we're still on the rotisserie.
Rotisserie.
We did. I don't know if you see the grain. This is the stuff you put in a pickup truck bed.
Yeah. Yep.
I got the professional stuff from the auto body supply.
Okay.
And sprayed the whole bottom of the car and inside the trunk, all the wheel wells, the frame and everything. So
nice.
This is the cross. This is his shock absorber, upper shock cross member.
Mm-hmm.
These are the mounts where the 4-link goes. And I got the new chassis installed.
Look at that powder coat. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you made the adapters for the frame horns, huh? Okay.
Yeah. Well, what I did was I took the ones that I was using.
Yeah.
I flipped them around and I drilled 2 new holes so that they mount onto the radiator support.
Right.
And what I did was I just punched holes big enough for the socket to go through, and then put the 2 half-inch bolts into the top of the frame so I could still rotate this thing around.
Mm-hmm.
So over there is a box that came from Earl's the other day. I have all of his plumbing for the fuel system and for the brake system. I have all the lines, all the fittings, all the adapters, the whole deal. And I got his brand new fuel tank. See, it's got the cut off corners.
Yeah.
So it's an inch deeper than stock. So it's got the same amount of fuel will still go in it. But with the cut off corners, it's for cars with mini tubs. So you can run like a 3-inch exhaust pipe out the back of the car.
Nice.
And it's got the electric fuel pump is already in it. And I got the fittings here from Earl's. It's got your sending unit. I got a Earl's fuel filter.
Yeah.
So, and I got the whole relay kit, everything. So we got all new stuff. They give you straps that are a little deeper. So it bolts in like stock.
Oh, wow.
So this weekend, I'll be putting the fuel system in the car, start doing the plumbing. I got to bolt in the subframe connectors. And then there's actually a middle section. It's buried under here.
Mm-hmm.
That goes between the subframe connectors, and it's also has 3 adjustable holes for your drive shaft loop, depending on which transmission you use. So, and that bolts in. So that really squares up the whole inside underneath of the car. That piece you just looked at is going to go right in here.
Dude, that's the way to do it, man.
Yeah, and it's got this nice tubular transmission mount, and it's humped up. pretty
Yeah.
hard. I actually had to kind of like move the floor a little bit so they give you more room so you can run a large exhaust system through here.
I was just about to ask you that because I was looking under the caddy the other day. And I'm like, there's no way for me to run dual exhaust because of that mount.
Yeah. Well, this is all stuff from Chris Alston's Chassis Works.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You can talk to them. You know, they're making a whole line of custom stuff now, and he has a booth at SEMA.
Okay.
So I would talk to them.
What's the name?
Chris Alston. Chris Alston Chassis Works.
ALSTON.
So.
And they've been around a long time.
Really?
Oh yeah. Well, it used to be the two brothers.
Yeah.
And then they split up. And Chris was the smart one with the engineering degree. He knows what's going on. The other brother, he's like still floundering around a little bit under the name Alston Race Cars.
Okay.
But Chris took over, did his own deal under Chris Alston Race Cars. So the beast is still sitting here.
Yeah.
Doing
I tell you
nothing.
what, that car on the rotisserie, man, it just makes things look so easy and like it's just
Let
going to
me
go
tell you
smooth.
something. I get to stand up and do the whole fuel system standing up.
Yeah.
Same thing with the brake lines. I'm going to run
nice.
the brake lines, the whole thing while it's standing up.
Yeah.
And then once that's done, I'm going to flip it, put the rear end housing in, put it on jack stands, and his wheels and tires are here.
Mm-hmm.
These are, I think these are his fronts. That's his back tires.
Nice.
So, got some nice ones from US Mag.
Yeah.
They look real good on the car.
I'm surprised you went with a wheel like that. Yeah.
It
That's
looks
nice.
unbelievable on a Camaro. And the reason he got these, I saw these on another Camaro. And I sent him a picture, and he goes, "Oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for."
That was nice.
So
Yeah.
it's going to work out good. He's got 17s in the front, 18s in the back. He's got the front's got a 245, 45, 17.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The design looks like that design reminds me of an older style wheel, and I can't think of what the name of it is.
You know what it kind of reminds me of is remember those ones from Ford?
Oh, okay. Yeah. On
Right.
the yeah. Right.
It's kind of got that Ford
It
flavor.
does. Kind of, yeah.
What were they on?
Super nice.
It was like on was it on a GT or the Cobra that came on?
I think it was the Cobra.
Yeah.
And he's got 285 35s in the back.
Okay.
18.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's stuffed out really well. The
They're
car's
actually-
going to sit pretty low.
They actually have kind of like a magnesium look to them too.
Yeah. It's like a sandblasted center.
Yeah.
Silver center with a polished outer.
Nice.
But they'll be really cool. So yeah, I'll get this thing the hell out of here by January. I mean, here's the cool stuff that Chris does. Look at that mount under the body.
Full pocket. Yeah, it's nice.
Right? It's got a tube. It's got urethane bushings.
Yeah.
And then look at the subframe connector. This is the best part.
Adjustable.
Oh, yeah.
Nice
See?
stub, yeah.
It's got a stub.
Right.
It's made specifically for this thing.
Well,
So it slides on, and they give you slots.
yeah. Yeah,
So you
for
have some
yeah.
adjustability from
inconsistencies in the body. That's the thing. That's what you pay for when you go to top line guy as opposed to the
Right.
Chinesium one. You get all that engineering and all the shit that was wrong over the years that's been engineered out.
Yeah. See, now on this, it uses 2 of the nutserts.
Yeah.
And this third one, you drill straight through the floor.
Yeah.
And then you use a hole saw on the other side.
Uh-huh.
And then they give you the hardware. It's got special washers
Right.
to give this part of the chassis some strength.
Nice.
So it's better than the typical subframe connectors that you can just buy, but it's made specifically for his chassis.
What year is that?
This is a 67. So he gives you everything you need to really do this thing the right way. You know?
Did the guy order the motor yet, John? Did he order the engine?
What does something like that run?
This chassis setup is about, with the mini tubs and everything, is around $8,000.
A mere bag of shells.
But that's we're talking everything. This is a frame with upper and lower tubular control arms, coilover shocks, power rack and pinion. You know, it's the whole thing. Your brake kit from Willwood, big vented rotors. Yeah, it's the whole deal. Subframe connector, front frame, subframes for the back, subframe set up in the middle with the drive shaft loop. It's your mini tubs, your inner tubs. It's your cross member with all your mounts. It's your front mounts. It's everything that you need. It's the housing. It's the brakes. It's the axles. It's the strange center section. I mean, it's the whole deal.
So basically, rolling chassis.
It's really like, it's a boatload of parts, and you do the work, and it all bolts up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool.
Man, that's nice.
I can't wait to get it out of here.
Or you could buy a chassis car right from the start.
Yeah, I need to get going on my own chassis car.
Right.
Yeah, I got big plans. But he's buying he's basically buying the same motor I'm buying. It's a 632.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 632 cubic inches with Holley fuel injection. So it's 800 horsepower with a 30,000 mile warranty.
Ain't that something? That's crazy, right?
That is bizarre. That's nuts.
Would you imagine that 30 years ago?
Couldn't imagine that 20 years ago.
Go back to 1992 when I sold the car and Shafroff put one of his Pro Mod motors in to go do that race for Hot Rod Magazine. That was 615 cubic inches with nitrous. The motor on the dyno with no nitrous made 885 horsepower in 1992.
Wow. That was a
put
beast.
the nitrous on it. So literally the pump gas motor that I'm buying makes almost as much power as that 14-to-1 615.
Yeah.
Wow.
And 800 horse is nothing today.
Yeah, it's something you couldn't even buy back then.
You know, you couldn't buy it back then. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, I don't even know what Shafroff would have charged for that engine back in those days.
Yeah.
But you could buy a pump gas motor now that makes that power or more.
Yep.
And not have to pay a ton of money.
I'll tell you what, the guys in my car club, Hollywood Nights.
Yeah.
I think everybody in the club, dude, I think they're over 700 horse.
Yeah. It's common now.
Yeah. It's like normal.
Crazy. Unreal.
Yeah, we had a fair or Hot Rod Super Nationals here. And I think our club won first, second, third, fourth on the dyno. They were beating them up, boy. I'm telling you, man, these dudes ain't playing. They let me in with my little raggedy Cadillac.
That's fine. All good.
I got some parts for my dashboard. Ray, I'm going for it.
All right.
I'm gonna swap it with a 97 to a 02 Grand Prix.
Okay. All right.
So I picked up the dash today to see if it would fit in the car, and it will fit. I got to do some modifying, but I have to get the rest of it, like the cage and the the heater and all that stuff, so I can really measure it out and make sure it goes in. But you know what? I'm gonna make it fit.
Well, we were talking a while ago about the possibility of using vintage air.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that, the evaporator, everything is enclosed encased in that evaporator box. And I have one in my car. It really saves a ton of room.
Yeah, they do. Oh, they're unbelievable. That's what's going in this car, and I'm putting the same one in my car.
Yeah,
I'm putting AC in my car. I mean, I'm living in Florida.
Yeah,
I want AC.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
If it don't fit, but see, here's the thing: I'm putting bucket seats in it, and I'm gonna move them back because I'm big anyway. So that's gonna give me more room on my dash. I don't care about the back seat. There might not ever be anybody back there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'll make room if I got to cut it up a little bit. Little fabricating.
There's Ray.
Hey, Ray.
I went to a little square and I said, because I'm clicking around trying to find a way to diagnose this thing. And I said, let me click on my little face square because I finally saw it. And I saw a thing about testing the camera. Let's test it. There we go.
So everybody that doesn't know, this is Ray.
That's me.
out of witness protection.
Yeah, coming down with a cold.
It's just weather up and down, man.
Yeah, it's been nice up here. It's like in the 60s. It was like 60. I was out working in a t-shirt today out at the shop. It's not that it was cold.
It was like 85 today. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was, I don't know. It's something, who knows?
Yeah, it was pretty warm here too in the 60s.
Yeah.
But the rain, it rained and it got cold. The morning is cold.
We had that the other day. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we sent it over to you.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, we had one day of it. Now that we're supposed to get it again for the weekend.
I'm going on the boat Sunday.
Yeah. John,
Sunday,
Go ahead.
Go on. I was going to say, this weekend I'm putting struts in my car.
There you go.
John, how hard is it to get it mounted up on the rotisserie and all that stuff?
Oh, believe it or not, it's real easy.
Yeah.
You just jack the car up and put it on jack stands.
Mm-hmm.
So I used the 2-ton ones, they're large size.
Yeah.
And I put the car probably about, I don't know, maybe 20 inches up, 18 or 20 inches up. When you assemble the ends of the rotisserie, you could basically, you can determine how high the car needs to be to start by just having the piston fully collapsed. Like this part here. Hold on, let me flip.
Yeah.
This.
Mm-hmm.
So right now the piston's up. This part here is adjustable. Flipping it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it goes in and out.
Yeah.
This part goes in and out, which moves the T. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I put this basically like in the middle of its throw to start.
Yeah.
And then what I had to do is I had to take these that they give you, and it comes with these straps that would bolt to where your leaf springs go.
Okay.
But on a Camaro, they're not long enough. You got the rear body panel in the way.
Mm.
So what I did was I took the stock ones, the stock spring perches.
Yeah.
And I welded them to the ones they give you.
Yeah.
Oh.
To give me the length that I need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So then I hooked it up and I centered these silver pieces the same distance from the center to the edge, so that the T is right in the middle of the car.
Yeah.
And then when I started, I actually had these arms. They were bolted here underneath the firewall because I had the stock chassis was gone.
Okay.
And then what you do is jack it up so that you can get it off the jack stands, and then pull the triggers. You've got these wheels here, so you have all these different holes that you can lock the body at different angles as you rotate it.
Okay.
So start with the car sitting flat out like it was. You take it off the jack stands. Now it's elevated. It's on the rotisserie.
Yeah.
You pull the lever on this thing, and you try to rotate the car, and you see if it's really heavy. That means you've got too much weight at the bottom. So you move this wheel to change the actual center line that it's rotating on.
Wow.
Okay. So when you jack it up or jack it down, front and back, you're actually moving the center of gravity of the body on the rotisserie. As you keep jacking it either up or down, you go to move it, you'll see it takes less and less effort. You get to that point where literally with one hand, you can pull the trigger and rotate the car and then lock it.
Wow.
So it takes a while. It probably took me a good 40 minutes to come up with the balance point that worked really well. And then the other day when I attached the front subframe, it threw the balance point completely off again. I had to change both the front and the back. It was like super bottom heavy. I mean, you go to lift it to turn the car sideways, and it wanted to just roll back to being like regular, standing up with the chassis down and roof up. So I had to move the balance point to get this weight further up to make it more top heavy to balance it off. Matter of fact, you can see, I don't know if you can see here. See, there's a line here where my finger is.
Yeah.
That's the line that this thing has been at since I started. And I had to move the body up almost 2 inches in the back. And then in the front, I had to go basically as far up as it could possibly go.
Yeah.
I got about another inch to go. It used to be here.
Yeah.
This part of the frame used to be where this line is.
Yeah.
And that made it so with one hand I could release front and back and flip the car, completely upside down without any effort, at all.
That's pretty slick.
It's a matter of just moving it. But they all have this. Some of them, though, they only have the pinholes. So you have to use like a floor jack and move this and then lock the bolts and put the pin in. This one here is a better model. It's the reason I picked it is because it's got the lag screw, which gives you infinite adjustment.
Yeah.
And you do have the safety pin. And then in the front, there's these 2 bolts that actually just kind of like lock the 2 pieces of tubing together to keep anything from sliding.
Yeah.
That's nice.
If you're in between bolt holes, like pinholes, these things are doing the work. Plus, with a lag screws, they don't spin on their own.
No.
You have to spin them to get them to do anything.
Right.
Not like a regular type of screw that could possibly, from moving it around, actually start to work itself off.
So that's the ingenious one guy method in the garage, which shows, of course, American ingenuity.
Gives you a boatload of space to work with too.
When we did the Chevelle,
now the car is as narrow as it is from top to bottom.
That way, yeah. When we put the Chevelle that we were restoring on the same jig, we were lucky we were in the shop, so we pulled the body off the chassis on the lift. So we had the body on the lift, and then we just rolled up the jig to it. So we didn't have to jack it up or anything. We used the jack stands. And then it was a lot quicker. But, that was doing it with a lift in the shop.
Yeah.
But somebody asked if it was a Harbor Freight piece.
No, that's not a Harbor Freight piece.
Not.
No.
Gosh, I forget the company that makes this one. But you could buy the exact same unit, identical unit at Northern Tool special order.
I know one of the big guys is Whirly Jig. That's one of the real popular ones.
Yep. Whirly Jig's nice. It's built the same way. This one actually costs about $300 less than Whirly Jig.
Yeah, the one we used at the shop, I don't know what the make. I know it was blue and silver, but I don't think it was the same as yours. And I know that he bought a cheaper one. He spent a little less money because he used it on the one car, and then once all that body work was done, he sold it. Just also, sold to somebody else.
I think this one was like $1,200 or $1,300 complete.
Yeah, it's about right.
It comes with a bunch of stuff. It's got mounts for like a Nova or a Mopar, where you're removing that whole front subframe. Like on a Mustang, an old Nova.
Right. Yeah,
it has the plates that you would bolt right to the firewall.
Yeah, nice.
You just drill the holes in the plate.
Yeah,
and put it on. It comes with the leaf spring mounts. It comes with the 4 arms that you could modify if needed.
Yeah.
What other stuff did it come with? Oh, it comes with door braces, diagonal door braces.
Oh yeah.
That you can bolt, to your hinge plate in the front, and to the striker plate in the back of the door to keep the car from like wanting to cave in on itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it came with a whole bunch of stuff. It was a really good deal.
Wow. Let me ask you this: have you ever done suicide doors? Anybody?
oh yeah. I did, but I didn't. We years and years ago, when I had the chassis shop, we got involved with a car show production company called Endless Summer Car Shows.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Sure, I got a couple of the VHS tapes on the shelf here.
Right.
Yeah.
And they came to us and said, "Hey, we want to do something that none of the other car shows do. we want to give away a car.
Mm.
I'm like, really? And how you plan on doing that? Well, this guy, Rich Oakley, he's like, I'm good at getting stuff. I'm like, okay, so you get the stuff. What am I in on? He goes, you give us the labor. So I was like, all right. But he says, you're going to get all kinds of advertising and the whole deal. So it was a good deal.
Yeah.
It started out with a 79, a 79 Camaro. He brought me this running but ugly brown 79 Camaro. And we built a pro street car out of it. We cut the floor from the seats all the way to the rear bumper, cleared it out. He got a local engine shop to build a big block Chevy for it that made probably somewhere around 500 horse. Chassis Engineering out of Florida here. They supplied the rear frame. They supplied the suspension, the shock absorbers. Willwood supplied the brakes. Select
So he wasn't kidding me.
Transmission. Yeah, so there was literally thousands and thousands of dollars worth of parts flowing into my shop.
Nice.
We put the car up on a jig and we photographed from day one. We blew the motor up. That was the first thing we did. We took the oil out and we took the water out and we put it out in front of my shop and we videotaped it. We just put a brick on the gas pedal and just waited for this 305 to explode. And it probably took, I bet you that thing ran for almost 3 minutes wide open before it expired. And when it did, it kicked the rod right out. Boom! Went halfway across.
Oh, you should have put 100 shot of nitrous on it just for the hell of it.
Really juiced it up.
It was great. Yeah, so we blew the motor up and then we pulled everything out. And we documented it from start to finish.
Yeah.
And as the shows progressed, we would bring the car once it was movable in the various stages. And we did this really, really nice aluminum work with a black and gray interior. We took it to an upholstery shop. They did nice. Actually, it went to Automat.
Oh, okay.
They did cut pile carpet. They built us all kinds of beautiful door panel. I mean, the car was just phenomenal, and it was a full running car. And at the very last show, we pulled the ticket, and a woman from Babylon won the car.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and actually, I saw the car for sale on one of the Long Island Facebook pages last year.
Oh,
yeah. They changed the paint over the years. They painted it this kind of like a weird looking sort of reddish pinkish color. The car was blue when we did it, and they were looking to sell it. They wound up, they modified the engine. They put a B&M blower on it, sticking up out of the hood. Yeah. So they did stuff afterwards to make it even more crazy pro street.
Yeah.
And it was up for sale because the husband and wife, they're getting kind of up in age, and he's not really doing well. He's got some health issues and things, so they figured, let's sell the car.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that car is to this day. And then the next car we built, Rich came to me and said, let's up the ante. He goes, if you were going to build something to give away, what would you build? And I'm like, I'd build a Pro Mod with license plates.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right, how about something nostalgia? I'm like, yeah. Let's do a Willys, a 32 Willys.
Yeah.
So we went to Willys Works, upstate New York, and we got those guys to donate a complete 32 Willys fiberglass body, and I gave them pictures of some of the Pro Mod Willys that were running around IHRA and down south. Yeah. And they modified the nose and put a sloped, extended nose with a big air dam in the front.
Yeah.
And stretched the wheelbase out to
nice.
We made that car like 115-inch wheelbase.
Right.
And then we got Chassis Engineering came in again with all the chassis parts. Strange came in with struts and shocks and brakes and Holly. We got a local engine guy that built like a 600-inch motor, but like a pump gas motor.
Yeah.
And we put that thing together, and it had a gigantic, almost like an aircraft carrier wing on the back.
Geez.
And what we did is we made the top of the wing on a hinge. And because those willies are so narrow, the rear frame was only like 18 inches wide.
Yeah.
We had huge tires. We gave that car away. It had the tires like I use. It's Goodyear dirt track tires.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest winged outlaw dirt track tire Goodyear makes. It's like 24 inches wide and about 34 and a half inches high.
Wow.
It's a huge, huge tire. And in order to get those to fit in the car, the rear frame had to be real narrow. So we got 2 7-gallon stand-up plastic fuel cells, and mounted them behind the tubs on either side of the car.
Oh, jeez, wow.
Tied them together with steel braided fuel line. And in the middle where you would normally put your fuel cell, that's where we put a set of dual batteries and fuel pumps.
Yeah.
So it was pretty wild. So in order to fill up the gas, you opened up a couple of quick disconnect fasteners, and literally the top section of the wing went up like a trunk lid.
Oh, okay.
I had gas struts.
Yeah.
This car was really, really cool. We called it Willies from Hell.
What was the Willys? I have half it. It was a purple car. It wasn't the purple Peoply. It was purple something. It was a real popular Willys.
Purple Haze?
Was it Purple Haze?
I think so, maybe.
It popped up on Long Island here about 2 years ago.
Wow.
And there was a whole big thing going on about it. And a couple guys I know who knew the car back in the day got involved with the fray. And, I think they kind of, it kind of stood down. The guy, I don't know, he might have been trying to make something out of something that wasn't. But that whole thread came up about, and I remember looking up the car and researching it and seeing the thing had quite a history.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Tell you what, technology is really jumping stuff up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, God, crazy.
And what's nice is he's making it cheaper.
Yes. Well, some stuff.
Yeah.
I after not building cars for so long, since 2001, when the Trans Am came back, and I started looking at prices of things.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, how does anybody afford to build a car these days?
No.
It's not like it used to be.
Well, but then you found a break when you looked into that dash, and the some of the body parts were pretty cheap, so that was nice. The popular cars,
Well, some of the stuff is good, and a lot of the companies have been real helpful.
Yeah.
In terms of saying, we understand that you're not really a full-fledged chassis shop, but you are a business because you run a business, so we'll give you the account.
Yeah.
So it's good. But I am finding I have about 4 or 5 different wholesale accounts opened up. With companies where you can get like the general parts.
Yeah.
Things like stuff from Holly, stuff from Mr. Gasket, stuff from Earl's, all of that.
Yeah.
So not paying, Jeg's price.
Right.
I'm getting a break off of that.
Right.
So
that's good.
Yeah. So that helps. It actually helps. But yeah, it's expensive. I mean, I'm thinking to redo this Trans Am. It's probably going to cost me $60,000 by the time I'm done.
Your wife's asleep, right? She's already in bed.
She's actually watching drag racing. Believe it.
Is she?
There's like a whole series on Thursday nights. It's NHRA in 30 or something like that.
Oh wow!
And they do each race 30 minutes. Boom, 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 and it's like back to back to back to back to back. She was watching the Thursday night football game, and then all of a sudden, I heard Brian Loans come on. We're in Texas.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, she gets up at like 5:30, so she's sleeping right now.
Yeah.
Terry.
Hey, Terry.
You just having some issues, huh, bud?
Oh man, I was having some serious issues. What's going on, fellas? I've been around, man. I was actually listening. I like that rotisserie you got.
Yeah. You can do chickens on it too when he gets hungry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do some ribs up in there.
Right. Big rack of ribs.
Rack of ribs.
Yeah.
What kind is that? Is that the Eastwood?
You know, Eastwood sells the same one too. I need to find out the name of this. I forget the name of the company.
There was a sticker on there, yellow sticker that was ripped. I couldn't read the name.
It says that's got the capacity, 3,000 pounds.
All right.
Got a 3,000 pound capacity.
Because you want to hear a story?
That'll hold the caddy, Lewis.
Yeah.
The body, at least.
Always want to hear your story.
What's your story, Eric?
Yeah, I'll tell you a story real quick. I went to go pick one up off of Facebook, the marketplace.
Yeah.
Like it was a good quality one, like how you have, where it has the lift and you lift the car up and you can tilt it and it has that little balancing thing that you were talking about.
Right. Yeah, the lag screw.
So me and my buddy picked it up for like $700, right? So I went there to pick it up, and yeah, I need it for my '67 Chevelle, which is what you have in your garage, right?
No, Camaro.
Oh, it's a Camaro. I thought that was
No, it's a 67 Camaro on there now.
67 Camaro.
Yeah. This is a
69, but I mean, we could deal with a 67, you know.
67.
Yeah.
Well, anywho, I go there, and guess who the owner is?
Excuse me for 1 second. The main point is it's not a 56 Chevy, so.
Yeah.
Just
Stop the flow.
No, there ain't nothing Tri-5 in this place.
No.
Can I finish my story?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
No, so I go to the guy's house, right? And I'm saying to myself, this guy looks so familiar to me. But I think nothing of it, right? So we're talking, and really nice guy. You know who he is? George Rubistello from Pink.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, George Rubistello from Pink's, the most decorated Pink's driver.
Oh, okay.
Loose screw.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm sitting up there like, this guy's George Rubistello. You know, so we talked about business and all that, and he was telling me he needed a torque converter. You know, like he was putting his car back together for the Pink's All Out that they're doing, the All Out Call Out.
Yeah.
Right.
I've been seeing him, racing a lot, and so he said he needed a torque converter, and I was like, really? Yo, Nelson.
Yeah, exactly.
Nelson. Next thing I know, he's got Nelson stickers over the side of his car. You know,
Nice.
Nelson don't play, man.
yeah.
Speaking of Nelson, there's a AM radio station down here called Boss Hog Radio.
Wow.
Yeah, and they have billboards.
Wow.
I have to actually stop on the service road, and I need to go take a photograph of this billboard.
You should. You should.
It says Boss Hog Radio. It's got the mascot kind of looks like Porky Pig.
Yeah.
And
Wiggly.
yeah, it's got a couple of sayings about like no rap, no crap, something else. It's an AM radio. It's not real powerful, but I need to just take a picture of that, and I need to get it to Nelson. So
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be
Get the
I'll make
frequency
sure I
too.
do that before I come out for SEMA, and I'll print it and I'll frame it and I'll bring it over to him.
Get the
You're
frequency
gonna be
too.
there, right?
Yeah,
gonna be
I'm gonna be there.
You gotta stop by. You gotta stop by the booth because there's gonna be a party up in the booth, man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be insanity, man. I can't wait. My suite at the Venetian is calling me.
Oh,
Ready,
okay.
We're going to try to set a date to have everybody from Planet Traffic meet. I'm thinking on Thursday.
Thursday works.
I'm there.
I think Thursday, maybe at Nelson's booth or Dave Hayes' booth,
Okay.
or maybe both. I mean, I'm going to send out, to all the guests that's been on the show and everybody.
Because everyone's gonna be there.
Yeah.
Wait, you going?
No. Everybody
Ray,
won't be there.
What's up, Ray? Why don't you want to go with us, man? You want to hang out with us or what?
It's not that I don't want to go with you. No, it's just that
Just write the check, man.
life demands my presence a lot of times around here.
Wow, I like the way that. That's nicely put, Ray.
Yeah.
Always
Life.
one, man.
Stupid life.
Yeah, we got a good friend who's in a bad way right now, and my wife and I were talking about it, and she actually said to me, she says, we had a real serious moment. She goes, don't let that happen to you. Like, you got to stay around because we need you here. Like, she thought about it and said, like, you do a lot of stuff here that like we couldn't do without you. I'm like, well, you better start learning because like if the bus comes one day and bang, I'm out. Like, you gotta, I mean, it's nice to be needed, but still, like I like to see people be self-sufficient too.
There you
So
go,
it
Ray.
kind of makes you think, take stock of what's going on, you know.
Well, I tell you what, Ray, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do a video so you can like feel as if you're there.
Excellent. Appreciate that. That'd be great.
We're gonna utilize the phone. We're gonna do a lot of Facebook Live stuff. We're gonna do it.
That's right.
This year, last year I kind of just walked around. My knee was killing me last year.
Oh, right.
So I had all kinds of issues, but I got through it. But I was in some serious pain.
Yeah.
But
I'll get to hang out with
this year we're going for fun because I'm gonna look at the new stuff. And I got a list. It's not a big list, but a small list of things I want to see for the kids' 67 Camaro.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of things for my car. I got some people I got to talk to that I'm trying to get them on board. And I want to go see all of the people that we've had here on the show. You know, I want to go talk to Tammy about paint.
Oh, we're all talking to Tammy about paint.
Oh yeah,
we'll all be there.
I have a local guy here. I've been asking around for like 6 months on who's real good with painting, and I found this guy Raleigh. He's over in Clearwater, and he's awesome. This guy paints some crazy stuff, and he's a real good guy. He's a Mustang guy. That's his only fault.
Yeah.
But
what year Mustang? You know, like if he's a 69,
he's like a Fox body guy.
Okay.
You know? But he uses her paint, and he makes posts on Facebook, man. He raves about it. As a matter of fact, he did some crazy orange exotic car. I'm trying to think of what brand it was, and it was in a national commercial.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, check that out.
I'll tell you what, I'm on Tammy's special page, like a group. And people are posting what they're doing with her paint, man. They're throwing some paint.
Yeah, I got to get on it.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Yeah. So, you know, she told me when I talked to her, she said she can, you know, get the stuff mixed up to look just like it used to look.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll be modern paint, you know. Like when I spoke to this guy, Raleigh, I'm like, I said, you know, this car was lacquer. They laid down silver, they laid down black, and then they put these 3 House of Color candies over the silver.
Yeah.
I said, but just driving around, I'm seeing like Hondas and Fords with the same
look.
blue, candy blue color.
Yep.
I'm seeing, you know, beautiful shades of silver with metal flake. And it's all, you know, base coat, clear coat stuff. And I'm sure the candy grape, the purple, is probably pretty close to plum crazy. Maybe like a slight custom, you know, mix on plum crazy would get me to that candy purple. And then that pink, it's not a hot pink. I call it like a cool pink. She said she can mix that up, not a problem.
Yep.
You know, she goes, just get me some high definition photos and I can mix that for you. And I'm like, all right, cool.
She told me she's going to make me cover man copper. I was like,
there you go.
Nice.
I like that. Like, man copper.
Yeah. She sent me some clear because I spilled some fluid on my bike, and it ate all the way through, man. I was so upset. So she sent me some clear. Now I got to go back and do the whole bike because her clear, I sprayed it and never touched it. I never sanded it, never buffed it. It's like glass. You should see it.
Yep. I remember there was a post, I guess about a month ago, that Raleigh had he had done a car. I think he got the car was already somebody already based it. They did the base coat on it, and then I don't know, there was an issue, and the car wound up with him, and he used her clear. He just gave it a wet sand, sprayed out her clear. He said, "Man, I don't even have to polish this thing.
Yeah,
this is crazy." And
I'm telling you, it's deep too. If you look from the side, you can see in it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So now over the winter, I'm gonna do the rest of it.
Yep. Yeah. Well, there'll definitely be her paint on the car. That's a given.
Yep.
Hey, John, that 68, is that yours?
67? No, this is the kid that owned the Trans Am.
Oh, okay.
This is the guy that I cut the deal. He's paying for all the parts and stuff, and I'm just giving him the labor to do this.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's lazy because I've had the car for 3 years.
Wow. Yeah, because I saw some of the work that you're doing. You got the Chris Olson's chassis work, the whole setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing that on my '69 Camaro.
Comes with a notebook and everything.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. Oh, so you do the front flip and everything.
Oh yeah, this is awesome. It's got great, photographs of them doing all of this work.
Yeah, I'm doing the 4 link in the back.
Yeah, that's what we did with this one.
Yeah,
right here.
That's not Quadra-Link. That's the G-Link.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the G-Link is if you go with their mini tub setup, you're actually cutting away a good portion of the stock rear frame.
That's the thing I'm scared
the
about.
axle center line.
Yeah, that's what I'm scared about. I think I'm going to leave mine.
It's not scary at all because what Chris does is he gives you laser cut fill-in plates.
Right.
So they give you templates and all kinds of dimensions. You got to kind of know what you're doing. You got to be effective. Yeah. You can't be just some.
No. But let me ask you this though: Does that make it? Because I'm just a little nervous that it might make it a little too weak back there. But
no, because what happens is you're cutting away the stock chassis, which is hollow, and it's only sheet metal.
It is hollow sheet metal. You're right.
It's hollow sheet metal, but then you're putting in his laser cut closeouts.
Okay.
So he's giving you framing to put back.
More, yeah.
Right. So
more meat.
You're boxing the chassis back in, and then his suspension plates, which you can see here. Hold on a second. Let me flip this thing around. See these? These go along the outside, well, actually the inside of the chassis.
Right.
Where you just put his plate. Now you're doubling it up with 1/8-inch plate that's rosette welded.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you get your front mount and your support for your coilover shocks. See if I flip it, you can see this stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna go that route with him.
Yeah, his stuff it's real good to work with. Like, look here, look how narrow the frame is.
Mm-hmm.
Start here. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where it used to be. I see now. Okay.
It used to go this way.
Right, go straight across.
Right, and then here's stock again.
Right.
In this area here, you're back to stock rails. So it's about a 9-inch section that you're removing so you can fit this larger preformed tub.
Okay.
And you're closing it out with a heavy plate.
Yeah.
So you're welding it at the top, you're welding it at the bottom,
and then you're going to put that
up, clean it up, and then the shock mount wraps around the rail, and then you got all these rosette welds that go in it, and then here's your front mount. Now this front mount, it's hard to see. Hold on a second here. It starts here, it goes down across the rail, and there's a plate that runs all under here, all the way back to the shock mount.
And what will this allow you to?
Your chassis is like triple thickness. This isn't going anywhere. Trust, this is way stronger than stock would ever be.
That's what I want to see. That's exactly what I want to see. So now, what are you able to put like a 12-inch wheel back there, rim?
Yeah. You can put up to a 12-inch wheel. This fender from the lip, and we didn't even cut these lips. Okay, they're stock. Mm-hmm. From here to the tub is 14 inches.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So you got to figure tire in here.
You got to figure they engineered that because that could be going out on a track as a race car, so it's got to be strong.
You could put like a 345 or something on these things if you wanted to get crazy. The kid didn't want it to look like it had a narrowed rear, but he wanted a tire, like as big or bigger than a Corvette.
Right.
He wants the thing to go around turns. So that's why he's got these tires. He's got good grip, wet and dry grip. They're fat. And it comes with an anti-roll bar. It comes with the canted 4-link. It comes with coilover shocks. So you have all the adjustability. It's everything that you really need. I did a lot of research because there's a lot of kits out there that you can buy. And some of them I think are like really, really overpriced. This one here, the price is right. And I know the quality of what Chris Alston puts out.
Yeah. See, I want to go with that. I got a 9-inch straight out of Detroit Speed.
Right.
I don't want to. You know what it is? The problem with a 9-inch for me, The problem with a 9-inch for me is like when
Because it's a Ford. That's your problem.
that's pretty much it. But it just doesn't, when you got a 9-inch in the back of a car, unless you're racing it and it's not a Ford, it just doesn't look right. I like
What are you
to.
talking about? A 9-inch looks beautiful in the back of a car.
I don't think so. I prefer to have the 12 bolt in the back of a Chevelle or a 69 Camaro. It just looks right with those bolts. And then
but
the
look and the performance are two different things.
No, but you can still get the same performance if you go with the Moser housing, the Moser axles.
Yeah.
If you're racing the car, I agree. Get a 9-inch because at that point now you have adjustability to, take out the housing, change gears and stuff like that. That's cool. But if you're not racing the car, if you're set and forget it kind of guy, the weak point of a 12 bolt, if you ask me, is, correct me if I'm wrong, John, is those
C-clip axles.
Exactly. So now once you go with a Moser housing, when you bolt them in, the only difference between that and a 9-inch is the adjustability for swapping the gears out.
No, there's more.
There's more to it.
9-inch, the pinion actually rides higher on a ring gear on a 9-inch, which makes it abominably stronger.
Actually, the pinion rides lower on the 9.
That's
it does rob horsepower, for a street car.
It
takes more to turn it.
A lot of horsepower.
And that's another thing.
It takes a lot of horsepower to
horsepower.
turn a 9.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, if you're racing that thing every weekend and you're gonna be changing, swapping out, but then the thing is that's not me. Like I said, didn't forget it. I really do. And
you got to understand one thing.
Talk to me.
If you get involved in spending the money in the right spots, a 9-inch can actually be less of a horsepower drawer than a 12 bolt or a Dana. I have a Mark Williams center section. It's a pro stock center section. It's got unbelievable low friction bearings. The car's got a 430 gear in it. You can by hand, you can grab the yoke and give it a twist, and it'll spin almost a full turn.
That's pretty impressive.
Like that.
That's pretty impressive.
It's unbelievable.
That's like
that is. I've never done that with a rear end.
It's got such a small amount of drag. It's ridiculous. And it'll handle like ridiculous amount of power because I have a 40 spline spool and Mark Williams 40 spline axles, gun drilled, the whole 9 yards. So all of that stuff's going to wind up going right back in this car.
Mm-hmm.
How much of the 60 grand goes on that?
9 inches for years, the ones that you just buy from like a regular Strange 9-inch or even just a regular Mark Williams or a Moser. You got to put some effort into turning that pinion. There's a lot of preload on that pinion, and the fact that the pinion sits so low on the ring gear, it's got just take a look. If you can find a picture of a typical, like a 411 12 bolt, take a look at the pinion gear and then take a look at a 410 Ford pinion, and they look like two completely different animals. There's an awful lot of real estate on a 9-inch Ford pinion. I mean, there's the amount of gear contact is. I don't know because I don't really do rear ends, but I'm going to say it's got almost double the amount that each tooth has to slide through that ring gear. Just pull up on the internet. Just pull up a picture of a 12 bolt pinion and a 9-inch pinion, and you will see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out because
the 9-inch. See, the 9-inch also has a carrier bearing, a pilot bearing in the back. You've got your bearing in the front behind the yoke.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the bearing underneath the gear head, and then there's a pilot bearing, like the way a clutch pilot bearing is. On the back end of a 9-inch in the housing, there's a bearing in there that your pinion goes into. So you're talking about a gear that's supported in 3 places: a Dana, a 12 bolt, 2 spots, one all the way in the front by the yoke, one underneath the head of the gear. So that pinion gear can kind of wobble around a little bit on the ring, when it gets torque loaded. Plus the caps, if you don't go for the good caps on a 12 bolt, you're going to explode it. They're just cast caps.
Yep.
You go with the aftermarket. I'm sure Moser makes a good cap. I wouldn't doubt it. I haven't looked at their catalog lately, But like the stuff that I have, my caps are billet steel. They're heavy, but they're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And the spread on them is tremendous. It's able to handle a really, really huge bearing.
Are you using a 12 bolt on your Trans Am?
My Trans Am's got a Pro Stock 9-inch.
Okay.
That's what I use. I use 9-inch rears for everything.
You don't even mess around.
No. This Camaro's getting a 9-inch. That's what Chris Alston puts in them. It's a narrowed. It's like, I think it's somewhere along the line I read that it's like 6 inches narrower than a stock Mustang housing.
Is he using one of those sheet metal center sections on that thing?
What do you mean?
The
housing itself?
The custom built. Yeah. The Fab 9. Okay. Nice.
Sheet metal housing with a back brace.
Those are cool.
And
got that octagonal,
strange internals.
The octagonal shape to it. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. That's the one. And it'll have a strange center section, strange axles.
Right.
And then it's got the really big vented rotor Willwood discs.
Yeah.
Front and back. They're like 13-inch discs or something. Yeah, they're big and heavy.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It's gonna be nice stuff. I mean, it's made for driving on the street. It's made for getting around a turn.
Yeah.
It's got a beautiful rear anti-roll bar. It's splined.
Really?
So you can set it just the way you want it.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I've seen it with the splined ends.
Yeah.
With the I've seen that.
Yep. And on these with the mini tubs, they actually mount the anti-roll bar inside the lower 4-link brackets, where the bar is mounted.
Right.
And the arms come out, and then you have your links that go up to the chassis with just a set of tabs.
Right.
So it's almost like the way a factory, anti-roll bar is, where it's literally mounted off the rear end.
Yeah.
In the race world, we mount them on the chassis.
Right.
And we just run 2 links down to the housing. So
yeah.
It's all part of the chassis itself. But on a street car, having it down on the housing itself, it's great for packaging. It gets everything out of the way.
Yeah, the company I use for the rear lower control arms is Spawn Racing up in PA, and they do the same thing for the F bodies. They bring it off the shock mounts, and they come up to a bar up on the floor.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Spawn, they got some stuff.
SPAUN, right?
I think it's OHN.
OHN, yeah. They do a lot of Trailblazer stuff as well.
Yeah, good company.
Yeah, Terry, if you're going to do a 12 bolt, I mean, I don't have a problem with a 12 bolt. I love 12 bolts. I had 12 bolt. This Trans Am had a 12 bolt in it from the factory.
But you got rid of it.
Yeah. Trust me, there's so much stuff I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Only because my friend Tommy, Mark Antonio, that used to own Camaro Connection.
Yeah.
Right.
I rolled up here one day with the black 81, and he was like, "What's the VIN number on that car?" So I went outside and I wrote it down, and then he looked it up in that GM book, because you know that this car was originally a 1970 Formula 400.
Right.
The one you got?
This car, I bought this car in 78 from my best friend's brother.
Wait a second, that car was what year was it originally?
1970 Formula 400. Yeah.
Wait a second, hold on. No, your car has the wraparound back windshield, doesn't it?
I changed everything.
How?
Yeah.
Get out.
See that?
Yeah. Okay.
This is the Pro Street version of that. Look at the rear window.
Yeah, that's
flat
window. Yeah.
Okay.
I bought this car stock from my buddy's brother. He was building a wine and cheese cafe, and he needed money. So for $2,000, I got that car. It was white with that electric blue interior. It had the low back bucket seats, which were 1970
only. Right?
Yeah. It had a 330 horse 400, the WT designation block. M20 4-speed, air conditioning, power steering, power disc brakes up front, drums in the back, rear window defroster, AM/FM, 8-track in the console.
Ooh.
Down below, the Delco 8-track.
The Delco.
It had the deluxe interior. It was and it was polar white.
But did it have
Polar
Roger shocks?
And that's the car I bought for $2,000.
Wow.
And then I started, beating on it. I blew the 400 up. I had it fixed. Then I blew the 400 up again, and I had it fixed again. Then I started blowing transmissions. I went from a 20 to a 21
to a 22
to a 22
to a Super T10.
No, I didn't have
You
never had a
Super
Super
T10?
T10. I was at the drag strip in the Hamptons. I blew up to 22. I went to pull second gear. I pulled. I was a maniac because I drove a Pontiac motor like a Chevy.
Yeah, you have to be a maniac.
I used to put the thing up against the chip and just sidestep the clutch. Like 5,500, just let it go.
You asking for trouble.
And I blew the transmission up, and there was a guy at the Hampton drag strip. They called him the Gremlin. His name's Steve. Mm-hmm. He's a transmission guy. He came by, and he's like, you need to get away from these Muncies because the car weighs like 3,500 pounds. Mm-hmm. He said, you need to have a Ford top loader transmission.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. Come to my house. He says, I got a little shop in the basement. He said, I work for a transmission place during the day, and in the evenings, I build racing transmissions. So I go there. He had Hemi boxes, crash boxes. He cuts out like every other tooth in the synchros.
Yeah.
He had this guy with hardcore drag race, and road race transmission stuff. So he sold me a Ford top loader with a 278 first gear. He told me to buy a Hayes 3-finger clutch. Mm-hmm. He came to my house. He dial indicated my bell housing. He put offset dowels, and he got that bell housing dead center off the crank center line.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. He took my Z-bar, the stock Z-bar, because on the Camaros and Firebirds, your linkage goes from your pedal out of the firewall to the Z-bar, down, and then back to the bell housing.
Yeah.
Right.
He built me linkage with left and right hand Heim joints.
Right.
So I could just crack jam nuts, and I could move stuff around.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Got rid of, if you're familiar with the way the GM clutch setup is, it's a threaded rod on one end, and it's a point that fits into like a dimple in the arm, in the clutch arm.
Right.
In the bell housing. Okay. Well, he cut that dimple off. He welded a set of tabs onto the arm, and he put a Heim joint there.
Oh, nice.
So now I had a left and right Heim joint at the bottom, a left and right Heim joint at the top of the pedal. He built a pedal stop that was adjustable. You just crack a 9/16 wrench, you crack the nut, and you move the pad in and out. So he put gussets on the Z-bar.
So he must have gusset the shit out of it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he came to my house. He dial indicated he put the flywheel on. He dial indicated the bell housing. He set the air gap on the clutch by adjusting the pedal stop and the linkages. Got that locked in. He said, you're going to have to get used to driving with a pedal that only goes down about 2 inches now.
That's all it has to do.
All it has to be right?
Yeah.
And he mounted the transmission. You just go to Lakewood. Lakewood sells a pilot bearing adapter from a Ford transmission to a Chevy crank. Mm-hmm. That was a walk in the park. We got the transmission mounted. We used the Hurst Super Shifter 3 because I like that short. Was really, really short, 3 3/4 inch throw.
Wow.
On an H pattern with a reverse lockout. So it was an awesome It was an awesome shifter to use, both for drag racing or for driving around on the street. It was still an H. And then I just had to have drive shaft shop make me a drive shaft that went from the Ford yoke back to the rear end that I had. At that time was the 12 bolt. And the car was awesome. I mean, I picked up probably about 8 or 9 tenths of a second ET just by putting that transmission and clutch in the car without doing anything.
Wow.
Then a good friend of mine blew up his 455 Super Duty, but he didn't want to get rid of it because he knew the 73 Super Duty was going to be worth money in the future.
Yes, it is.
He was a thinker. So he said, why don't you sell me your 400? He said, because I know you're just dying to put a Chevy motor in this thing. So I sold him the Pontiac motor, and I went to. Do you know Eddie Haas, Mouse
Yes.
Factory?
Yes, just saw him at a wake just 2 months ago.
Yeah, he sold me a 355 Chevy that he had built. That actually was in Mouse Factory for a little while.
Okay.
It was like 14-1 355. Had
Nice.
run Cam 2 on that thing.
Yeah.
So I put that in. That was Mighty Mouse.
Mhm.
And the car was awesome. Then CarCraft did their thing. We went to the Street Machine Nationals. John Asher took pictures of the car. Then I met Norman Mayerson. He came out. He did an article on the car. And then he came back and did Cruising USA, which was kind of like the end stroke for 231, thanks to me putting a map out.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? They asked for it. I gave it to them. I didn't think it was going to, I didn't think that the powers that be in Suffolk County were going to come down on us that hard.
Yeah.
It's not like they didn't know where we were street racing.
Right.
I mean, there's literally a starting line paint across Deer Park Avenue.
Right.
So at that point, after going to the Street Machine Nationals and seeing all of these Midwest guys with narrowed rears, I'm like, oh, I got to do that. So I cut the car up, and then I decided, since I'm going to do a tub back end, I'm going to put a big block in the car.
Yeah.
So that's how it turned into this picture here with that big scoop,
big hardwood,
big set of tires in the back.
Mm.
So I didn't have to change the paint. I just had to put the bigger tires in, and we actually modified the wheel well a little bit to get the bigger tire in. And my guy Funky Frank, that did all my pinstriping and everything, he touched up the paint. And that's the way the car was. Then I got hit by a drunk driver.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm driving along, and this guy drives into the back of the car, and he destroyed the rear body panel and the passenger side quarter panel. So at that point in time, when the car went back to the body shop, I don't know why, but I felt, why can't we change this car so I look like I'm coming out with another car?
Yeah.
Then to my body guy, Bobby, I'm like, you got to change the quarter panel and the body panel anyway. I said, can we update this car to an 81? And he was like, yeah, I have to just buy 81 quarter panels and 81, tail panel and everything.
Yeah.
I said, and then what are you going to do about the nose? I'm like, well, I got a guy that wants to restore his 72. I said, so he'll buy the nose. So I sold the nose, and I ordered this fiberglass 81 nose. And the car went from being a white car, came out of the body shop as a black car. And I mean, even as recently as like a year ago, people thought this was a completely different car.
Yeah.
But if you look at the dashboard,
it's got
the VIN number from a 70 Formula 400.
Yeah. It's funny because you did the opposite what most people do.
See? 226870. And it's a Norwood code.
Norwood N, right.
And it's car number 127940.
You do the opposite what most people do. Most people take like a 75 and above
and try to convert it back.
And convert it down to like a early 70.
No, yeah. So trust me. I was going to build another 70, and then this car showed up. And I'm like, well, okay, I could probably get this done pretty fast, and this car has way more racing history.
Yeah.
With NMRA and Pro Street stuff that I've done, and what Steve Johnson did when he was driving it at that hot rod race. So this car's known. I mean, I have guys that follow the page from Australia that actually came to that race. And they're like, oh, man, I can't wait to see that car get put back together again. This car has a huge following of people I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's so weird,
Well, let me ask you.
The other car, the white car, has a very large following of early Pro Street people.
It's a nice car.
I really, really like the 70 body better than the 81. That the nose on this car looks like Darth Vader's mask.
Yeah.
No,
the 70 is nice.
Yeah. So the fact that the car sat pretty low and it was really fast is about the only thing it's the only saving grace this car has is the history that it had as a race car on the street. So for me to try and bring this thing back to the other way, that's an absolute waste of time and money.
Especially if it's not
it's got absolute mint condition quarter panels. You know what I'm saying? Everything on this car is the stuff that we put on after the accident.
Right.
And it's never been nicked or banged since. There's no Bondo on this car.
Leave it to 80. Although to me, the 75 Trans Am's a better looking Trans Am out of them all. But
here's the trick. Check this out. Because I really don't like what's in this car chassis wise anymore. It still has that stock 70 front frame. It's got an old school 4-link from Chassis Engineering that uses 3/4 inch bolts. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with it, but no. It's old, it's 80s, stuff. So I'm cutting this chassis out and putting a full tube chassis in the car. That's what I'm going to do. This is a one-shot deal. It's getting a full-on, like 6-second legal pro mod kind of chassis, but still make it, able to drive on the street. I'm cutting this chassis out, but I'm not destroying it. I'm going to wrap it up and park it where my aquarium business is. Get this car done. And if I have any energy left, I could just go buy a roof, quarter panels, rocker panels, doors, nose, all of that stuff. And I could build a 70 Firebird around this 70 chassis.
True enough.
And I have an engine. The engine that came with the car, it's a 480-inch big block. I'm not using that big block. I'm putting a different motor in the car.
Vanilla?
So there's my engine.
I see you, John.
I sold a Power Glide.
I see you, right?
I wouldn't run a Power Glide on the street.
No.
So I'd go out and get a Turbo 400 or call my friends and put 4-speed back in the car. But I'm probably leaning towards like a Turbo 400. And I can build that white car. I could recreate that white car for not even a third of what it's going to cost me to build this black car. And I could literally have both of my cars in my garage with my choice of which one to drive.
Yeah.
Nice. Hey guys, I'm gonna jump, but if anybody in the chat room wants to jump in, hang out.
It's about time for me to head on out myself. I gotta go.
I'm gonna go and get some.
I got a bunch of stuff going on too.
Yeah, get some sleep myself.
Okay. Listen,
you guys.
I'm gonna be sending out invitations to meet up at SEMA. So when I send them out, if everybody can reshare them, so everybody will get it. You know what I mean? It'd be cool.
Sure.
So I'll be doing that probably beginning of next week.
Cool. Very cool.
So we gotta go to the restaurant and get those nachos.
Yeah, man. I was talking about them today, man. Those nachos, dude. I can't find nothing big enough to hold. I mean, it was like half the table.
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. No, I mean, how many people were there? Like 8? It was me, you. Was Gil with us? No,
Gil.
Your wife.
Yeah.
Lou was there, wasn't he?
No. My camera guy.
Yeah.
Keith, and a couple more people. And I'm telling you, the nachos were 12 inches off the table. Easy.
Can eat them.
I thought it was a joke at first. I thought I was getting pranked or something.
I know,
I'm looking. I'm like.
I was kind of bummed out. I was talking to Lou yesterday. He's not going.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I talked to him last week, and he says he's
got to get a hernia operation.
Yeah, he's got to go into the night.
Yeah, that stinks. I told him, I said, you got to stop lifting motors up without a hoist. He's like,
that's what I told him. It's on the same exact thing. We're not as young as we used to be, man.
And spring chicken.
With the hernias, it's outpatient. I mean, I did mine a few years ago. It was like,
yeah, but he'll be messed up. He won't be able to walk around in the show.
Yeah.
You know, he's only going to have like a week's recovery. He said he's just not going to go. Which is a shame. I was kind of looking forward to hanging with him.
You got to take care of yourself, you know?
Yep. It's always something.
Exactly.
Oh,
All right.
All right, Phil.
No,
You're still coming on next Thursday night, right?
Yeah.
Wait, what'd you say?
You're still coming on Thursday night, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. We got a couple guests. See, everybody's getting ready for SEMA, so it's hard to get people on right now.
Sure.
But we'll try to sneak somebody in.
Yeah.
Either way, it don't matter. Either that or open, swap around, get some of the other guys on,
Yeah. Yep.
I did enough bullshitting tonight. I don't got to be on next week.
Yeah.
All right, man. I appreciate everybody, and I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Peace out, gentlemen.
Good
All
night.
right.
Good night.
Later.